Okay, we'll continue with our training, and we stop with saving this model supplier 5. So we save this one, save supplier 5, so it's there, and go back to it and see what's inside. As we've said, the commodity item here is power supply and multi-tester. So we print that. If you notice, what they printed was for supplier 4, so you have to change this one for supplier 5. Okay. What you do is you copy for supplier, this one, copy 1. The green label here pertains to reports. So when you click this one, it should get anything, any green file. So we need a report for supplier 5, so we copy paste supplier 3 and copy and paste there. So we create for supplier 5, which is what we did a while ago, and there you have supplier 5. The next step is to link this supplier 5 that we created to this model, which is the supplier 5 model. Supplier 5 model gives you the entries. This should give you the report that you print. Now to do this, because if we click this now, this is still default on the last supplier. So you change this, and how do you do that? You go to design view and right click, you say build event, and then open report, and you will say I need the report for supplier 5. So what did you do? You set this button to supplier 5. So let's check that. There. But as you notice, it still has not given you the data. It is still set for the last supplier. So the idea is to change what's inside that report, and you go through design view, and property sheet, and this is where you link that supplier 5. Okay. So when you go through it there, supplier 5, this is what we encoded there, power supply and multi-tester. You want again to view it in this mode, and then this is how you, when you want to print the purchase order. So going back, the steps are, you first go to the transactions, and then you create the transaction for the purchase order for that supplier. So if you're ordering like 3 items on one supplier, then you should be creating 3 records. In our case, we created the 2 records. So you do that, you make a copy, and then you identify the supplier. Now how do you do that? By just going into this pop-up screen, and you have already linked it to that supplier. Why do you need to do that? Because it is the key to separate this transaction from the rest. So this is your selector. Now, as you've noticed, it's still labeled as supplier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Later on, if you change that to the actual supplier, This will also be automatically changed. Now, so you create a record, you link it, and then you identify the commodity items. Would you like to include the stock here? You may. You may include the stock here. That's the stock that you are ordering. Once you have that, you create a model for that, because why do you need a model for that? Because it would be a little bit difficult if you do your encoding here. So what you want is a separate encoding format. That's what the model is for. So you create a separate encoding format. That's what we did, and it is labeled as supplier 5. The encoding format or the form is in this icon, as distinguished from reports, which are green, and the query, which is a double table. Okay, so this is for convenience sake. You have your own form where you can encode the number of orders. For, let's say, multi-tester, it should be 10 items, and just refresh the total if you want this to change. There, it's 14,000. 10,000 at 10 at 1,000, that's 10,000. 8 at 500, you have 4,000, and there you have it. So this is really a help form where you can easily encode your data, unlike the database format, which is you can also do it there, but this is a more friendly form, or should we call it a supplier form. Now the thing there is you have to include that form here. So this is the last step. You just go to the design view and copy paste it. Copy paste what you have there, and you already have a new form, a new supplier form. Label it 5, and that's your, put space there, and you have it here. And this is you may want to change this to color white, because you can see it in the screen. So for now, let's color this the order point white. So we were sidetracked a little bit there, but let's go back to supplier 5. When you copy paste supplier 4 to follow supplier 5, this does not automatically mean you have copied the data. You still have to identify it in build event, and you'd say that you are opening the form not for supplier 4 but for supplier 5. And that's it. They are done. So if you go back to this form and click this one, you get supplier 5 data, and then if you want to print that, you click it here, and you have supplier 5 data there. So thank you, and see you next training. Control Shift.